going to be the biggest question, whether or not that's going to fit in well, whether or not T-Dog is going to fit in with the rest of the squad. But on the other side, Shopify Rebellion, they really didn't have that many good results from stage 2. And like the desk was saying, hopefully they have taken some time. Hopefully they have worked through some of the issues that were kind of going on here. And I do know that they are pretty darn good at Icebox. So here's to hoping that they're able to get their own map pick, because once again, if Landor takes this one, then it might be looking like the desk might be completely wrong.
Yeah, this is definitely Shopify Rebellion Black's map to lose. Their roster is unchanged. Their game plans should be very much different, though. Hopefully prepared for a stage they'll need to perform well in if they want to make it to Ascension, despite that opening stage 1 win. We'll start their attack side, creeping up mid for the most part, but T-Dog staying nice and far back, grabbing that first pick. Rest of Landor trying to restabilize as Shopify has crept in through the woodwork, but everybody's cool, calm, and collected. Bones and T-Dog holding down the back line without a care in the world. They'll deal with the spike in a moment when the rest of the team is here. 4v2 is Jacob is already creeping up kitchen. His name is still Pancakes on the UI. I'm gonna have an internal conflict about that this whole match. It's on BCJ, who allegedly might have his Riot account hacked right now, so also dealing with some stuff. We got, you know, Shopify's just going through some stuff right now, man, you know? That's all.
What if we all are just like, we're all collectively going through it? I know I'm going through it. I know these guys are going through it. But yeah, I mean, hey, on the UI, it does say Jacob, so we're at least confident that Pancakes is Jacob.
That guy is Jacob and not, guys, it's not Pancakes. That guy is Jacob. Okay.
Oh, I miss Pancakes. This Jacob guy, I don't know, but you know, we'll see how this one plays out. But no, so yeah, once again, talking about like that whole narrative, right? Like Shopify Rebellion, they haven't changed anything. Sure, Pancakes has changed their name, should be fine on that front. But beyond that, Shopify Rebellion, they should have had the opportunity to discuss some of these things and work through it. And once again, they should be pretty good on this map. We're seeing them now go for the Stinger Rush, as a T-Dog going to be moving forwards pretty aggressively to grab that orb very early on. And it's a full retreat. Thanks to a little bit of that slow orb there, Landor walk away for free.
Yeah, loving that push with the help of the slow orb. Good to see Moose on this Sage here in Icebox. It's something we've seen him push to before whenever he flexes for a team. And here on the newly restructured Landor with the help of T-Dog as well. No doubt, a nice fill. Potentially the way to go. Shopify will still be able to kind of just keep moving on forward.
Does. We on Prod are having a little bit of an issue right now. It's going to be unable to see what is going on here. But, you know, like, I want to highlight something else as well that that's just kind of talking about. Obviously, we're still very early on in this map and, you know, understanding what is going on. But, really, Moose coming in from C9, you know, was really making a pretty big name for himself over there. And then coming back in, since joining Landor, has been a really big standout player. And I'm wondering how much of that, like, professional experience, that tier 1 experience that Moose has been able to bring to this squad has really helped round out this Landor roster. So things, once again, have been looking pretty good for Landor. And honestly, I know that we all credit Shopify Rebellion, but to me, Landor do feel like they might be able to come out on top. It's going to come down to that preparation that Shopify have kind of had. And conversely, compared to a lot of the other teams and challengers participating in other tournaments, Shopify Rebellion has been a little bit more quiet. They haven't really showcased what they have available in other little tournaments that have been going on. Instead, it is more likely that they've just been kind of scrimming internally. Thankfully, like the Shopify Rebellion brand, pretty large, so that I imagine they've had plenty of teams to scrim with, especially since the team is based in Toronto, or at least Shopify is based in Toronto, and we just had VCT Masters.
Yeah, Shopify has no doubt had plenty of really good practice and also recent practice. So there really should be no excuses for Shopify to not be in like tip-top shape, to not be at their pinnacle today, coming in against Landor. But like you said, a wide range of experience coming in from this team. Moose, obviously the longest tenured. In fact, the guy has been on Shopify Rebellion before. But these other newer players to the TCU scene like Chaotic and Sacred have been really making their own impact on this team, and it almost got Landor to playoffs last stage. Toxic Screen will get Shopify pretty far, but Chaotic just holding down the line. Anything that is open season for this Jet this round, and it'll net him 4 on this go around. Landor easily taking this bonus away. Already a very strong start.
Yeah, strong start indeed. They're able to pick up the weapons as well. As, yeah, once again, Shopify Rebellion still waiting to see those moments of greatness. Specifically for me, I really want to see Paint pop up again. Having watched how Stage 1 went, seeing them just kind of rise to the top, seeing Paint as well just frag out of their mind. Haven't been really treated to that since that finals. And meanwhile, Chaotic just kind of swinging on him, going for all of these crazy plays. Will be always taking those duels. And we're starting to notice that those who are able to frag, especially in Challengers, have really made a huge difference for their individual teams.
Hunter's Fury gotten early by BCJ. He's going to let it fly now to ward Chaotic off. In fact, he's almost going to be able to completely get rid of him, but the healing orb from Moose gets him back up to snuff. Rest of Landor can now prepare a stack. Shopify have all the time in the world. They're already starting to kite a bit. Spaz moving on over to B main. While BCJ gonna throw out a drone in mid here. See if anybody's coming in early. Nice 4-1 to spread thin, keep resources over on the other side of the map for as long as possible, but Chaotic is still so close. Can Paint pop off? Not this time around. In fact, Chaotic is gonna do a little bit more. Moose's turn to get active on top of that barrier orb. The Hunter's Fury will just cruise right below him and take care of all of that low ground. Moose will manage all of the high and forces Muncie to drop down and grab that spike and hightail it away over to the B site. That has been slightly opened up by Spaz. Now that the stack has been fully moved over. Landor, the job is not fully done yet, but with 25 seconds to go, Shopify don't have much of a window to work with. I'll hand this over.
I just want to highlight, Sacred made sure that the B site was more or less locked down, and that's why you didn't see any of the members of Landor rotate themselves over, allowing to make sure to crunch Shopify onto A. Now that the spike goes down, it's going to be obvious where these last two players are. 4v2 on this retake. Shopify, they need to get this round.
So necessary. Little more util in the bank for Landor as they make their approach. No reason to hide it. First peek out from Monsi's good. Second from Spaz is too. Ultimately, it's a 2v2. First tap on the spike. You gotta peek it. Double swing from Shopify. It's beautiful. And Sacred stands alone. Monty ultimately grabbing 4 this round. Shopify on the board here. That looked quite clean.
A bad situation getting completely reversed around thanks to 2 members on Shopify Rebellion, Monty and Spaz, staying alive, the dynamic duo, holding so many different angles, and you can see the timing was excellent. As soon as Monty turns around the corner, all barrels are focused on Spaz. Or sorry, as soon as, yeah, okay, yeah, I got my names right there, but it just looked so clean from Shopify. Despite the fact that they split up and went for these different angles, it worked out perfectly for them. So they finally get that first round onto the board. We see Chaotic pop the knives very early on. And it's going to be that pressure outside of A, trying to take a little bit of space for Landor. Meanwhile, Sacred, as well as Bones, will be able to watch this B site. As a Shopify Rebellion, they've really committed all their members over here.
Alarmbot catching the push. But again, Landor taking their time. Sacred very patient on this push and now can use that to really slow things down with the help of the snake bite. He'll grab 2 before going down. But BCJ turning back. Catching T-Dog on the extension from Snowman. Landor still got to watch their 6s, but so does Shopify. Everybody's watching in the front, so Chaotic can just swing in with the knives and finish off easy peasy from there. Very great defense so far from Landor. Really no leaks in the ship. Everything is ship shape.
And also too, it feels like they just know what Shopify Rebellion Black are doing. Like you see, of course, Chaotic. We were expecting a little bit more of a rambunctious Jet player here, but just going so far into spawn, they haven't even fully executed yet, and already is in their spawn, making sure to catch that timing just on this backline. Sure, the Killjoy gets taken out, but you're just simply not expecting Chaotic to be in your back like that. So Landor, ready to just put the entire desk to shame right now. Has the L11 in hand. Like, these rounds have been so quick, and I think that speaks to Landor's style. They're very much ready to take these engagements and very much ready to just frag out, and we're going to just pretend that we did not see that dart.
Good thing BCJ has another way to gain intel. There goes that drone. That'll clear yellow this time, but Sacred is able to dance around it. And Shopify don't really have much to push with anyway. Paint the only one with the hero rifle here. And he hasn't really been able to get too active yet either. Great paranoia to open up the lane, and BCJ will use it to get an opener. The rest of Shopify can hop onto site, but Landor has made it back in time to fight this out. And they'll just pop a lockdown on top of it. Paint's gonna just W-key down it though. Risks the lockdown in order to grab that kill. Monsi, great cross though. That turns it to a 1v2. Chaotic is going to be able to grab a proper rifle and pivot back over a little sooner than Shopify may expect, but still they have a 2v1, more than enough room, and they'll even throw their own lockdown into this to guarantee the plan.
Wow, that's a very heavy investment from Shopify here. 1v2 scenario, they weren't able to scoop up any weaponry, unfortunately, because all the rifles get dropped onto that base site. And now Chaotic will be moving into this 1v2.
No smokes to his name. How deep does he decide to dig? The turret will be the first line of defense. First corner cleared. Finds the head of Monsi. Just has a feeling about Spaz, but can't clear it. And Shopify will hold on to a round. It's 4-2 now, but by the skin of their teeth.
Scary for a second there. Looks like Chaotic was going to be able to do it, able to find that crispy headshot. And then Shopify Rebellion Black. Thankfully, Spaz able to stay alive. Stinger in hand makes it work, but yeah, this is the type of pressure that we need to see Shopify kind of put onto Landor moving in. It's those moments of hesitation when they get stopped down, when they're forced to just slow their plan. We see Shopify kind of crumble. That time around, it was so well executed. It's going to be Paint this time. Knives going to be activated. BCJ as well. Does have that Hunter's Fury online, so a couple of tools. We're seeing Landor, though, move all the way out of that B site so deep. And look at this excellent paranoia combo.
They just really threw everything in there. Shopify's aggression finally paying off here. They have really wasted no time this entire game, but only now has it really looked clean. And BCJ will put a nice bow on it, in fact. So Landor will be forced to fully reset in an environment that could end up tying the game. So another 11th hour clutch by Shopify Rebellion Black that'll keep this half stable, at least for now.
And kind of crazy. I mean, they just thread the needle. An excellent combination of utility kind of coming in there. Supported by a Hunter's Fury, supported by the Paranoia, and Paint just gets 2 free kills. And that's a really good just momentum boost for Shopify Rebellion here. Like you said, should be slowly getting their way back in. We're seeing Landor get forced onto a save. Shopify, it's going to be this adaptation that we need to see from them. Make sure that they're ready for some of this aggression forwards. And like, look at this already. We're seeing Spaz as well as Paint watch for that aggression forwards based off of how that last round went. And so they play a different game this time. Landor, though, they dig their heels in and just wait for something to happen. With the hop going down, potentially gets information heard out. Chaotic, though, just on the other side, does have the sheriff in hand, ready for Shopify to walk forward.
Oh, Sacred can't bait one away, but Chaotic not properly checked. Only gets one before falling. Shopify have enough to work with. Paint Drops down, given some grace. No shots taken. But Landor setting up shop to be able to at least try and chip away a body or two along the way. BCJ tossing some shock darts that find their mark. Moose spraying through the smoke to find BCJ on the way out of the post plant, though. That's just terrific understanding of the pathing. Turn it back into something relatively competitive. Jacob still with the smokes he can set up if need be. He's actually got the paranoia keyed up on top of this spike first, so everybody can just swing it and hold it. They'd rather do that against the Sheriffs. So we are indeed tied up at 4. Shopify Rebellion are starting to really clean things up. The speed is starting to play to their benefit rather than Landor's as well. That's a really big noticeable thing. And then they slowed it down this round when Landor were actually forced to an eco. So I appreciate, you know, how much respect Shopify are continuing to pay Landor despite their tempo.
Yeah, you know, just shaking off the rust a little bit. Shopify Rebellion Black, looking like that squad that we would have expected them to be. Not feeling as much like a stomp as those first 3 rounds did. But now Chaotic will have the sniper rifle in hand. Sacred as well does have that Viper Spit, so a couple of tools available for Landor. Chaotic just full sending it. Might have been a little bit of a throw there. Gets completely blindsided by Pancakes. So aggressive on the angle, expecting to find a kill there as the cavalry comes in onto T-Dog shortly.
Yeah, T-Dog, yeah, not nearly enough of a window of time for him to even grab that one before he would ultimately get killed anyway. Just not worthwhile either way. The rest of Landor behind you. Not much setup this round anyway. Bones playing bare bones. Can only land 1 shot in time. So Sacred already too far in to really, go back down. We'll just see if he can fish for a kill. At least for a moment with this toxic scream. For something. Great shot onto paint. Oh, but Monty's made his way around the back. Shopify taking the lead, having a massive economic waterfall as well. This has been such a sudden setup from them. Really impressive.
Yeah, and it's really just completely flipped the script. On that last round as well, we see such a heavy investment. Chaotic going for that operator, finds absolutely nothing, and it's in an irrecoverable spot. So even if they wanted to save, it doesn't really make that much sense. Rifles all get dropped as well. This time it's going to be potentially a stinger buy coming through for Landor. I'm expecting maybe a little bit more aggression this time, but I think that Shopify have really started playing their own tune, and Landor have not been able to find an opportunity to kind of push them around, find a little bit more space. It really feels like Shopify have that read. This time around, they're going to be exploring onto this A site. Landor a little bit more scared this time. And as a result of that, they just simply lack information. We're not seeing those far forward holds onto that B site, giving Landor the heads up that Shopify Rebellion might be moving in onto A. And so as a result, they really just have to rely on Bones to be able to hold it themselves. And that is going to be a tall order. The utility, though, should give away the game plan.
Much less telegraphed in the first 15 meters than the front 9 rounds. Leading to Landor just handing the space over, really. They know how much Shopify has to throw it at, and Shopify is going to throw it all. Bites. Hunter's Fury actually thrown in on that first tap. Shopify entirely pushed back a bit.
30 seconds left.
So Landor can play this close range with these stingers now that they're on the low ground again. They've made this an interesting fight again, but BCJ has the off angle, and the rest of Shopify can go for the pinches they need to. Landor trying to put Shopify in panic mode this round, and they do a great job of almost getting there, but Shopify have enough to get over the line.
And let's talk about that macro game coming in, because excellent read from Shopify Rebellion on what potentially Landor might do on the attack there. We see immediately spike tap. All right, let's back it out, and look at that. Hunter's Fury from T-Dog. Play deal like a fiddle. Okay, let's go back in. Spike tap. Okay, now let's go and rearrange and get ready for Landor to rush in on top of us. Exactly like you said, Tenrek. Oh, they're here. Landor's set up and available to go. Surely they're going to hit the gas pedals, and Shopify were ready for it. They immediately get off that spike and just play for the kills instead, not even really giving Landor an opportunity really to make their way onto site. Just an excellent macro game play coming in from Shopify Rebellion Black.
We'll see Jacob find that first leg of aggression here in round 11 on top of the tube. That'll get taken down by the Owl drone, so Shopify will have to kind of pick away at a new space. Looks like B lane is their choice at the moment. Historically, this has been held by Sacred from yellow, so they'll have to do a lot of manual clearing, and Sacred hasn't even dropped anything there. You see Shopify hanging away at Snowman at the moment. I understand how vulnerable they've been from that angle this whole map. They know that someone can kind of just swing out and start spraying, especially on the post plant. The second this push is telegraphed, Sacred is going to pop that pit. And he's staying really close to this team. It's very risky with very few members of Landor here, but Bones is on the outskirts and he's able to find the opener onto paint. Question is, where does Shopify go from here? They're just going to weave the outside of the pit at the moment. They'll head out into Snowman, in fact. Jacob's all the way in the back. And they're going to set up their own pit, intertwining. BCJ finding Bones on the way in as well. And another corner of the B side has been picked away. It's twin pits that these teams are bashing heads with here in the post plant. And Sacred has got to duck back into his. It'll be relegated. Shopify's pit stands alone, and it stands strong. What an insane snail's pace game that Shopify managed to play this round. And in a 4v3, with so much time left on the clock, Landor's got to just give it up.
Toxins going up.
That is one of the most impressive rounds I have ever seen in this game. That was so amazing. Oh my God, what a pick.
Genuinely delighted that we got to see that round there. It is the perfect thing where it's like, man, this pit's kind of a problem. What if we just like went around it? And we see immediately Jacob / Pancakes teleport into the back of that B site, just closer to Snowman, scope it out and be like, actually, things are pretty chill over here. Well, you know what? They didn't pit the back of the site, so why don't we just deploy our own? And it feels like Landor just got hit with some sort of discombobulator, because as soon as that pit goes up and the spike goes down, they were just looking around like, wait a second, did they plant inside of the pit? I don't think they did. Why is there another pick going on here? Honestly, just a fantastic kind of goofy round coming through, but it works out perfectly for Shopify.
Oh, and another read onto this early op. Shopify now have every reason to just put the foot to the floor. Just such a terrific understanding of the macro here from Shopify in this latter bit of the half.
Oh, they're going for it.
They'll still be able to get this plant down. Moose can grab Monsi on the fadeaway, but everybody else is A-okay. Who's going for the res, can get the barrier up, but everyone else just gets sprayed down. It's a war zone that Shopify wins, and it's 8-4 exiting their attack half. A wild recovery that shows how intelligent this team is.
7 rounds in a row for Shopify Rebellion. Honestly, just excellent calling from that squad. They're making it look so well rehearsed. On top of that too, even making that call to go for the plant even when the lockdown is up there, it's a little bit greedy, but it works out perfectly because you know what? This is a site on Icebox. You don't have to play forwards. You don't have to play onto the spike. You can just spam from all sorts of angles so far away from the spike and you'll be just fine. And Shopify just ready for it. Landor, once again, looking a little bit confused about that. They were like, oh, I guess they actually went for that spike plant. And unfortunately, that they don't have an opportunity to turn it around. So really, Shopify Rebellion just in total just strides right now as they look to potentially close out map number 1. 8-4 in this half. Now they're on the defense. Sacred starting it out with a kill onto Jacob.
Great start on the lurk is Jacob playing an intensely active Omen, knowing that Spaz has him covered on the smokes. But Landor feeling pretty confident to approach this now. East side's pretty well held, though. 2 for 1, as they'll try to make their approach again. Moose with the barrier orb should have no trouble this time.
Spike planted.
And we'll just fight directly after. Spot and Bones on the throw. Able to swing on the Moose first, but yeah, that's a great swing from Bones. Nice and early. Nothing to throw at this. Monsi's gonna hold for half. Wow, he got away with it. Down 2. Yeah, just toy with it. Take your clip, buddy.
Enemy
Oh, no way. The perfect timing to step up. The fake! But Sacred's got enough to work with. Again, I just terrifically played the whole way through, though. Like,
yeah, 100%. And now we're kind of seeing the composition of Landor really get to shine, in my opinion. This double wall setup, specifically with the barrier orb, I think is so nifty. And sure, the strategy does get a little bit old over time. You know exactly what to expect from the Sage, but it's so effective, especially on the rounds where your opponent does not have adequate weaponry really to shoot the barrier orb down pretty quickly. So on those pistol rounds and everything, and can really just stall things out for a second. Pancakes, little bit aggressive there, and was able to get one shot off, but Moose with the stinger is able to punish that one, so it will be an early man advantage for Landor.
Once again, pretty readable.
Here.
But look, if the game plan from Shopify is the same as last half, be the most predictable team in North America for the first 4 rounds, and then be one of the most interesting teams I've ever seen for the next 8, then, I mean, doing the math, they'll end up winning.
We love some quick math.
Nobody else is pivoted to B site here on top of Jacobs running with the law.
Spike planted.
So it looks like we'll just be dying to spike.
Yeah, I mean,
I would imagine.
It's round number 2. You don't really have the adequate weaponry. Jacob kind of ran it down there, trying to hope for a nifty kill, not able to find that. And so the best you can hope for, especially with the Killjoy turret kind of watching your back there, is a couple of kills at most. But Landor should be more or less comfortable with this one, and they will be able to carry a full bonus over if everything works out perfectly. And once again, it just feels like Landor, especially in some of these earlier rounds in the halves, are just completely on another level. As Moose is able to find one, but Spaz at least able to turn that corner there. And down with the spike they shall go. Except for Paint, who stays alive. And
Get that Paint! No!
Oh, that's unlucky. The spike giveth and the spike taketh.
He was too busy fragging. Oh, that's so funny. Oh,
Oopsies.
man. Oh, he's gotten... Dude, he's so broke. He can't even buy a rifle now.
Oopsies.
That's so funny, bro.
Oh, not the best there, but once again, like I think when we talk about the macro of this game, being the 2 heads of the team, it's going to be T-Dog up against BCJ. Obviously, both IGLs that have been kind of running the circuit in Challengers. BCJ so far has had a much better read on this game. Let's see if that continues, because that becomes especially more important here on this defense, because you know, you give up a little bit too much ground and the next thing you know, you're playing spam angles from long distances, and it's so hard to just kind of root out that post plant positioning. So it's going to be really important for Shopify Rebellion either to prevent the spike from getting planted or just completely run over them as the spike is going down.
Round is very timing contingent. Shopify desperate to just stick a knife in this battering ram. BCJ will relinquish the recon bolt for the sake of knowing that there's still a stack here, and they'll press the trigger. BCJ the first to fall. Paint catch an advantage. Too many grounds to look at, and Pancakes alone. Jacob alone. Paint saving grace on the early hold. Monty is here to play support.
30 seconds.
And Landor is still not broken through yet. That was the opening fight, just to get that
Toxins going up.
couple high grounds. Still though, personnel advantage. Util burn through. They swing onto it. Paint will finally fall. But now Spaz is here to play support. And he'll grab 2. Monty can turn the wheel just a little bit more, and now there's 10 seconds left for Sacred to get this spike down, and he just can't. Spaz, great quick reposition to give Shopify their 9th.
And we've been talking a lot about the macro gameplay, you know, the brains going on, the battle of the intelligence between these two teams. But one thing that I'm noticing that is pretty consistent is Spaz staying alive to the end of some of these rounds and being able to clutch it up. And having a player that can do that kind of stuff is so important on these teams because, you know, we are having some of those moments where, yeah, sure, the macro gameplay is going your way, but Landor, like, they're pretty big punchers too. They're able to find the kills necessary, and so making sure that Spaz is still alive towards the end there and find value has been instrumental in Shopify winning these rounds.
Now Paint joining in with the push. Jacob is over on mid. Shopify gonna win the majority of this stopper at first, but Chaotic will put a hole right through it and turn it to a 2v3 out of nowhere. Give them another shot. I kind of taking this down, but Shopify, terrific attempt to just sort of put a quick stop to this, not give Landor really a chance to even get a word in edgewise. It'll work out pretty well, keep it too stable this time. Starting to get that economy back in flow and hitting double digits.
Hey, remember when everyone in VCT was talking about like, oh, you know, you're fragging IGL, that's what's going to really lead your team to victory. Well, we do see that in Challengers as well. I think that is definitely the case because the IGL being able to frag out while make those calls makes a huge difference. But BCJ has been on fire this map. Between, you know, making the right calls, outbraining Landor, to even just individually fragging out and positioning properly, it's been looking fantastic from the Sova, from Shopify Rebellion thus far. Landor, they're back onto this economy buy. They're back to kind of scrambling to try and take a little bit of space here. But my apologies, it's not BCJ making the call, it is Monty making the call. So quick correction on my end.
Well, even still, Shopify's players as a whole have a nice knowledge base of how Landor operates. Meanwhile, their entire calling strategy has changed, T-Dog being the new IGL. And I have a feeling that a lot of Shopify knows how T-Dog calls. Landor, nice pokes. We've made it to the back of kitchen here. BCJ has a little bit of homework to do before he focuses on the spike. Paint cruising on through. We'll find Sacred. BCJ gets the kill credit, though. Dude, you got to use your Hunter's Fury. You got dead weight.
Oh, something like that. And still, we will be able to see Moose and T-Dog get that spike down.
Scanning ahead.
Okay, Hunter's Fury now coming out for BCJ.
Oh, and he
Gets
catches
the first
Moose.
thing here. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that'll be ball game for sure. You don't even have to look at the guy. Just throw a shock dart. Another great idea there from Landor, I will say. And again, T-Dog's playbook rolls deep, but it's something that Landor is new to working with, and it's not something that members of Shopify are new to playing against. So there's a lot of adjustment that Landor has to do, and not so much that Shopify does.
Yeah.
Again, big shout out to Monty on these macro reads. I gotta say, like, Landor has not been very telegraphable this game, and yet Shopify has just been very attuned to how this attack operates. Really impressive stuff.
And once again, it feels like they've just got their finger on the pulse on how to play this map. And Landor, you know, sticking to very basic stuff on how you would want to do this. We're going to be seeing them go for a timeout this time around, you know, before this gets a little bit too out of control. But I don't know, at this point, you see Landor have really good rounds at the start of the halves, and then it just kind of flips over to Shopify Rebellion, and then suddenly they're just running away with all of these rounds. And it doesn't feel like Landor have an opportunity really to put their foot in the door. It's really just good alt cycling coming in from Shopify Rebellion, you know, making sure that they've got their weapons, the economy is looking good every single time, and Landor have been really struggling. We're seeing Chaotic go for these crazy, unreal plays moving forwards there, but you know, unfortunately, it's not enough to carry them across the finish line currently, especially when they go into some of these brawls. Monty just has such a good read at what Landor want to do. We saw it when Landor was on the defense, and we're seeing it again when Landor are on the attack.
This map is very reminiscent to me of of how Shopify Rebellion Black won a lot of their maps in stage 1. You know, the peak Shopify that we saw. And it's kind of, you know, what ultimately became a lot of the mentality for North American Challenger teams in general, which is very momentum-based conditioning, where you show off how heavy you can dominate, you get a couple rounds off of that, and then you break check, and you start introducing new stuff, and you throw this team completely off their heels. Shopify, they're continuing to kind of wean on and off this aggression, and it's been working very well so far on the defense, but Landor have a lot of resources and a lot of space on top of Shopify's early aggression here on A main, and they'll use that to res themselves into a 5v3. Spaz is committing to this Viper's Pit down B lane as well, so Landor don't have to dive into too much here.
Viper's Pit as well deployed all the way onto that B site. And Landor, this time, it's just measured aggression. Understanding that they have that res, make full use of it, and now they will be walking their way onto site.
His approaches have been so great already this map from Landor. He's managed the high and low grounds beautifully. Chaotic doing so again here, and he's almost able to net a kill out of it, but it's instead the rest of Landor that have to kind of sidestep their way to victory here. Luckily, there's way less players on the other side. I think Spaz is already going to abandon ship here. Wants to hold on to this gun with Shopify still having a bit of a questionable economy.
Left.
So grab some popcorn, go to the bathroom if you need to, folks. It'll be a mock timeout as the score will inevitably be 11-7 in, like, I don't know, a spike explosions time.
How much is that in a metric unit, you know?
Yeah, chat, how many seconds does it take for the spike to detonate? Do you know? Because I don't.
Oh, we're turning it into a trivia show. But no, once again, like, I think the change of pace from Landor was what they needed there. Fully utilizing their timeout, making sure that they had something new, as well as making sure that they're ready to deal with the aggression from Shopify. Like I said, just kind of sending someone in early, making sure to effectively trade, find more than enough, and then get the res online for Moose to make sure you've got the numbers advantage to just nice and safely go into that A site. It all looked really well executed. And Landor, now, they're all just hanging in the defender spawn, making sure that they can continue to spiral this economy forwards. They're only 4 rounds down, but every single round is going to be a fight, especially with the amount of money that Shopify Rebellion still have at their disposal. They should more or less be able to buy up fully, but they might be short 1 or 2 guns. Yep. Looks like Pancakes will be coming in, or sorry, Jacob. Oh, my brain. Jacob will be just coming in without a rifle. But this time around, it will be Landor, the full weapon advantage. I'm curious to see what they do this time around.
You keep putting the active omen on the bad gun. I love seeing my man struggle. That's when he does his best. Very active Hunter's Fury here from T-Dog looking for an opening kill. Will tag, but not finish. Onsi just gonna have to regen a bit, and Jacob down to 45. Early use of the KJ util on top of a very telegraphed push. Perfect wall timing, but Monsi is still prepared for it. Moose still on top of the wall, though, needs to be taken care of. He'll drop down to get the spike down as Shopify Rebellion only have 3 members to go here. Still, though, can get to this early, and the wall's already been broken. Landor have to check their tails, too. Nothing's been fully confirmed, and Paint's already been backstabbing. So a lot of pressure on Bones here.
The stall utility as well, but Shopify Rebellion, Paint specifically, still has a lot of util available.
Peaks are revealed. Spike is smoked, but they just can't hold this down. They keep spamming it. And now a swarm grenade can be used. The stall has been perfect by Moose and Bones. And they can hold down the fort just long enough to get another round on the board.
They just trickle down the HP pool of the Shopify Rebellion members. I mean, you know, we're not seeing any crazy plays, not seeing any crazy swings. None of that. Just keep it simple. And that's going to be a round 1 for Landor. Shopify Rebellion this time around. Now, finally, their economy is going to be broken here. I'm very glad that Monty was able to carry the lockdown into this next round. I saw as soon as that kind of chaos was happening, Monty pulls out the lockdown, trying to run away, puts it away. I was like, thank goodness. You don't want to lose that thing, especially with the amount of pressure that Landor was going. So they have that tool still available for these rounds as Paint takes a little bit of chip damage alongside BCJ.
Go ahead and commit to this. Eco Paint. Early frag, willing to die for it. As the rest of Landor reveals themselves. Now it's BCJ's turn to peek. And Landor's still willing to try and fight it out. Or even throwing util at this. No lurk either. Sacred understands the gravity of the situation at this point. Knows help is needed. Are they gonna ult early on this? Does Bones have to lock down into the Sheriffs? Does Shopify force this much when they're up by the 3 rounds? When Landor has to work conservatively. Spaz gets away with 1, unchecked on the zip. Jacob the swing into the pinch with BCJ. And it's an integral 12th round that Shopify will net for themselves here on Icebox.
What a bounce back. First Paint going forwards, finds a kill that BCJ watching with the Sheriff as well, finds a couple of frags. And yeah, it just looks clean from the rest of Shopify Rebellion there. An excellent timing on the paranoia, and this is really where you see kind of, you know, the advantages of having your roster come back, practice a whole bunch of different types of stuff. It comes down to these little micro plays, which come in through on these brilliant ideas to make sure you just shut down your competition. Bones, as well as Sacred, both have their ultimates online here. Moose one away from the resurrection as well. They have a couple of tools to work off of. They have to make this one work. Paint goes down early. Chaotic finding an instrumental first kill.
Godlike trace, and it's going to force out an early lockdown, but not from Shopify. In fact, it's going to be Landor that just doubles down on top of it. Now comes that lockdown from Monty. He was going to reposition in order to use it. Jacob desperately searching for a pickoff here. TP's out just in time. Another Hunter's Fury on top of default spike plant. It'll still get planted, but BCJ finds T-Dog and an extra tag on a Moose as well. Has to heal himself. Now, an aggressive pit on top of this spike. Landor should have all the setup they need. Chaotic gonna get extra aggressive, in fact. Gonna try and farm his knives out here. And will, in fact, almost do so this round. Landor using so much, but it gives them all the confidence and space they need to take that round.
And you know what? They're still able to get 2 very instrumental ults out of Shopify Rebellion's pockets. The Hunter's Fury as well, the lockdown, have to get traded out to make this a winnable scenario for them. And so even though it was a very expensive round for them, well, Landor more than happy to be able to walk away with it. Chaotic playing in that crazy aggressive style that we've seen previously, deciding to turn it up when there's so much distraction, so many smokes available. That's when you're going to see that play style thrive. So an excellent job coming in from Landor to keep this one competitive, but it's going to be a barnyard brawl, and Landor coming out on top.
Understanding that this is one of the few things that Shopify could go for on a round like this, so they'll play into it willingly. Shopify nothing to hide at this point. You can pick up a rifle if you're Paint, yeah. Just go into the dog pile, see if you can grab one on the way. He does. Monty, last one standing into this almost full stack. No doubt double digits in the rear view mirror of Landor. Yeah, wrap it up, guys.
Not the shorty. From a distance, too. I thought they nerfed that thing. Yeah, and once again, like, I don't want to say that it's going to take a miracle round for Shopify Rebellion to be able to pull it out, but this is going to be the round that they need to make sure that they win, because if they go into the next one, they're going to be on a thrifty. You know, things are not going to be looking as clean, but Landor really starting to heat up as well, and that momentum can be a huge boon for any of these teams. So Shopify Rebellion, they wanted to close it out. This is when they needed to do it. To be the knives very early on here. Jacob has to respect that and back out. Chaotic not able to find anything.
Classic opening, and normally you just have to W key off of that, but with a slow orb to give them the ult orb, they have to just kind of play with the neutral space again. And that's not enough for Landor, not with the stack that Shopify has this time on A site. Luckily though, we've already spread thin very quickly, and have started to scope out B lane, seeing if anybody wants to peek from yellow. Seeing if anybody wants to peek out at all, really. Sticking Chaotic around here a little bit longer. 2 blades, if I'm counting right, left to his name. No more
Honestly,
movement.
that's just a really good distraction. Oh my goodness, the Jets
You're
over
holding
here,
everybody.
we have to pay attention to that. Chaotic is going to just completely annihilate us, but that draws so many members of Shopify Rebellion over to that A site. He wide open for the taking. Monsi, the only person here, now has the information, but it's looking like this is going to be a retake scenario for Shopify Rebellion. Chaotic also, too, still so far into that A site, looking to potentially get some backstabs after we see Landor be able to move
30
in,
seconds
but
left.
it's hesitation, which has allowed Spaz to start to rotate around.
Barrier orb now up though, so Landor have all the confidence they need to go for the plant.
Deploying
T-Dog is
drone.
holding the barrier here with the drone. Doesn't get much. But Shopify, yeah, really keeping their distance for a while here. Mainly stepping out through the kitchen. Partially snowman. Screens up. Blades out. Oh. Let's see where that one goes. Right to the back of yellow. Clears that out. Landor has to step into the fight or into the lane one way or the other. They're going to step in, and they win on all fronts. T-Dog going crazy this time around. And Landor has a lot of ults going into this final round of regulation, as well as no doubt a gun advantage.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, they're able to force out the knives from paint as well. Especially with the economy not being as strong as it is now. Shopify Rebellion will be playing a little bit of a budget buy coming into this one. We see them take that time out there. But what I'm starting to notice is when things get a little bit more chaotic, you know, we got this barrier orb up, we got the smoke set up over here, we got a smoke set up over there. That's when we get to see Shopify start to flounder a little bit more. It feels like it's a bit less connected, a bit less rehearsed, and that's when Landor just kind of stick their angles, dig their heels into the ground, watch the crossfires, and are able to take out the members of Shopify Rebellion. It should have been a pretty easy retake for Shopify there. Things were looking to be in their favor, but it was just the crazy angles that Landor were looking at that allowed them to come back into this. And now Landor, one round away from sending us to overtime here. They've got the weaponry to do it as well. They've got 2 ultimates available. More looking at T-Dog's Hunter's Fury. That could be an absolutely massive ultimate. The Shopify Rebellion Black, they're really just going to be scratching the bottom of the barrel, trying to get anything possible. But more importantly, maybe rushing Spaz to get the Viper's Pit online. But that could be a dangerous little bait there because Landor might be aware that that could, in fact, be the case. And so they might be guarding those orbs just a little bit more.
A lot of potential counterplay that both of these teams are working through the mental gymnastics of. Shopify yet again, for the most part, keeping their distance. Paint inches away from the tube opening. Landor seeing if anybody from SRB decides to buckle.
Enemy marked.
Just an owl drone out here from BCJ. Beyond the skirts of the toxic orb that got thrown out by Landor. Nothing confirmed on either side intel-wise. So Landor will just trollops up that B lane, see if they can find something free. There is a hold on to yellow once again this time from Spaz. He's on that far end of it, ready for the recon dart that gets tossed out from T-Dog here. And he's spot on. T-Dog is not, though. He can just turn around and start tossing stuff. And he'll get a kill. Chaotic, tossed out by Pancakes. Perfect timing out. Rest of Landor has to make it up, or else Shopify has the round. Landor understand their goose is cooked if they don't get this spike down now. The rest of the team's on the way. They get the barrier up. They trade space out. And T-Dog will get to the spike site.
You will not
Shopify set up on top of this, though. Landor waiting to get the res through. Turn in from Pain on top of the spike plant, but Moose sprays through and cleans house. Monsi in a 1v3. 12 seconds to go, but the barrier orb will obfuscate. And so it's Sacred that'll take the first fight. And potentially the last. No, it's Moose instead on the outside of yellow. 4 for the Sage. And we are tied up at the end of regulation, going to overtime here on map 1.
Overtime.
Oh, man. And Landor there, they had a pause for a second. Okay, I didn't mean a technical pause. That one I wasn't expecting. We're going to be honest with you. But you see Moose go up there. It's a little bit of a crazy entry. Shopify just fighting tooth and nail to shut things down. And Moose goes up, puts up the barrier orb, is able to get it, looks for the plant. Oh no, the spike is all the way behind. And then suddenly it forces Landor to have to invest a little bit more utility to push the members of Shopify Rebellion back just a bit more to claim that map space. And in the midst of all of that, it kind of worked out in their favor because it allows Moose to go for the resurrect. And with an additional member online, that makes it so much more winnable for Landor to come through in the midst of all of this. And so excellent job from Landor to stabilize themselves and not let Shopify get that ball rolling down that hill too quickly. They stop it and mitigate some of that bleeding. And now we are in this overtime scenario where honestly, Patrick, I'm not too sure who's going to come out on top of this.
Very hard to tell at this stage. Shopify still look remarkably intelligent when it comes to understanding this game, but Landor have been catching Shopify in these microscopic moments and turning the tables. Can they find those moments again here on Shopify's pick to win the break point and snowball their way to a potential 2-0 here in the series, get their first win of the Swiss stage? In the meantime, we implore you, if you have the space, the RAM, the extra monitor, got Legacy Kingdom and Blue Water going on over on the secondary stream as well. The 8th and final match of this first round of the Swiss stage before we pack up until next week. Once again, in the meantime for this, in between maps, once this series is over, if it's over sooner, however it goes, keep hanging out with North American Valorant. We got plenty coming your way. It's going to be such an exciting stage, Marks. This has been such a great opening 2 days, and I can't wait to see how it goes from here.
I mean, with just talking about like Challengers North America in general, right? Like we kind of talked about at the start of the day, so many of these teams, so many of these players that we've seen just kind of pop off and have made a name for themselves have all gotten kind of shuffled around with so many interesting groups of teams getting put together. And then on top of that too, you got people like Nightblood Gaming, Maryville kind of coming into the midst of all of this and looking phenomenal, upsetting their matches and making sure that they're proving a name for themselves. It's been super exciting to be tuned into Challengers North America here. And at the same time, like, you know, when Corrode does make its way into the map pool, a lot of the innovation that we now see in a lot more of those static comps in the tier 1 level have really come from this Challengers level. And I'm super excited to see what type of creative strategies are going to be kind of cooked up on some of these teams, because each one of these teams are looking for their opportunity to make them, to find a way into the Ascension tournament and be the one to make it into the tier 1 league.
Shopify, once again, winners of stage 1, one of the top teams in contention points-wise to make it to Ascension representing North America. Up to 3 teams from the region will end up doing so this year. It's one of the best opportunities that Shopify or its predecessors have had. But you got challenges like this, challenges like Landor, everyday challenges here in the Swiss. Makes it a whole lot tougher to get those points that you need. Shopify gonna keep fighting on their pick. It's gonna be a minute though, chat. Unfortunately, Chaotic encountering a bit of a tech pause. We'll be back, but we'll take a short, full-length break for a moment. Don't go anywhere. Folks, we're back to witness the stunning conclusion of this first map of our second series of the day. Landor, Shopify, Rebellion, Black. Icebox being Shopify's pick. Already an impressive display from Landor thus far, but beginning overtime, Shopify started to show heaps of intelligence and understanding of Landor's macro as a whole. Landor recovered by aiming and just hitting those shots, knocking Shopify members off at the right times.
Nothing like crazy aimers just ready to shoot you down no matter what crazy strategies you have cooked up. If you're not alive to execute them, it gets a little bit more difficult there. And honestly, we've seen Shopify just really in their stride for like the middle part of this map, but Landor have just been ready to, step right back into things as Shopify have gotten a little bit too comfortable in some of their own strategies and have become a little bit more predictable. We see now the attack going to be looking on this B site. Nothing really committed yet. Chaotic with that glass cannon operator staring down the barrel of mid. If Monty gets caught there, that's going to be a sure sign of to where this hit is going to be moving forwards.
He just knows at least somebody else is still on the other side of this, but with the spike heard, the go-ahead is given for Chaotic to reposition and the rest of Landor to follow suit. Moose already getting active from the kitchen, catches BCJ from that high ground. Jacob's turn to try to swing into this and deal with this problem that just won't go away. Moose, good for 2. And now the prepared drop down with the help of the rest of the squad. He doesn't even need it. 3 now for Moose. He's gonna step out and in front of the toxic screen and grab a 4th. He doesn't give a damn.
Wow.
And he will single-handedly propel Landor to a 13-12 lead here on Icebox.
I was gonna say, I know Paint likes hanging out underneath that bridge. Usually is able to catch somebody off guard there, but once again, just Moose flexing the tier 1 experience and just plays things so patiently. Now has tied Chaotic for the top number of kills on the Landor team. And then now we're going to be seeing Shopify Rebellion take their tack time out here to stabilize themselves. As a reminder, this is their home court. They wanted to play onto Icebox. They were expecting things to, we don't talk about stage 2 anymore. Let's get that bounce back from stage 1. Let's come in with a dominant start. And especially against a team like Landor, which does have quite a bit of experience behind it, that would be an excellent way to start out stage 3. And yet right now they're struggling to get that one across the finish line here. And so take this time out, take a breath, try and figure out another strategy that can really help swing this one around. Because you know what? If Landor take this, then we might be getting a setup right now for Landor to win out the series 2-0.
Just one more round to go the distance and take us to Ascent, where Landor feels even more confident. Game plan really looking tidy, but Landor's players just looking even cleaner. That's what it's come down to. The Brains versus the Brawn, and North American Challengers boasts a clear victor when those two face off time and again. It comes down to getting shot in the head and dying. Chaotic opening picks off. Chip damage onto Spaz. Jacob takes the reins of controlling yellow as Landor already make their way up the lane, grab that first ultimate orb. They may try to go for a buggy over to A side if they want to start stacking.
A lot less aggressive this time from Shopify Rebellion. They're going for that 3-1-1 stack here. Gibbs passing in the night over towards mid. That will allow Landor to make their way ever so cleanly towards this A site. And this is the site that they want to be hitting. BCJ alone here. Be able to get taken down nice and easy, especially in the midst of all of this confusion. Sacred, though, still holding ground as well, which is going to be instrumental. Monty going for the peek around, and will get taken out.
It's gorgeous patience coming from Sacred, and Landor's remainder of the execution onto the A side is perfect. Pain can at least refrag quickly, and Shopify have already cleared the other half of this map, so pretty unquestionable where this spike is going down. Moose, another perfect barrier plant. Setting up shot. Post plan to Shopify's life. Are you up or are you down? Ooh. Try and grab both grounds. Pain, another frag before going back down. Jacob now stepping in on the low. Slow creep up onto the spike here. Nice vantage that Spaz can grab. Jacob joining in on the fight, and they'll grab Moose first before Bones gets the timing proper. Now you've got to weave around this barrier. With limited time, Bones can reset the fight. Jacob inside that spike, and it is an easy giveaway once the spray goes through. Shopify, hold on and take us to OT2.
Man, that's crazy. Pancakes walks in, Jacob comes out. You know, who would have seen that one coming?
Overtime.
But Jacob honestly just kind of hopping around, playing all of these tricky angles is kind of what foils it. It was looking like Landor really had this map secured. The first two picks, excellent timing coming in from Landor. Make sure to shut that one down. And then it's like Shopify Rebellion, Pain able to at least get one trade. They have to make it work, and they do. So we will be going to double overtime now. See how this one is going to be shaken out. Chaotic once again with that glass cannon operator on the defense. Going to be looking onto this A site here. Trying to look for a scout out, but we'll allow Moose to just go ahead and pick up that ultimate orb. Away from the resurrection being online, and Moose is really turned up in this overtime. Let's see what Shopify want to do on this round. They're playing it slow right now, but Landor is more than happy to kind of deal with it. They're more than happy to really take their time as well on this defense.
Yeah, really, at this stage in Icebox, handing over a free kill is suicide for your team. Such a fragile state of being. Toxic screen once again facilitates the B push. Shopify, they'll stick with it. And they'll once again extend wide. This time it's Paint that takes that responsibility. Great recon dart, but can't finalize the kill. And Sacred stepped out from the back. The time window's already closed. And Landor are gonna slam the window on Shopify's fingers.
30 seconds left.
Your tactics failed. It's so tough. Like, you see Shopify, they move in onto the site. They don't do their due diligence of actually clearing things out. And for Landor, you know, they're like watching it, just like, oh boy, here's my time to play. And they just walk in. Sacred going completely unchecked, finds so many kills. That was the one thing I was going to be scared of as soon as we see it fly in, was Sacred going unchecked. And that allows so much room for Landor to go in. An excellent job coming in from Landor to take that space back and deny that entry. Shopify Rebellion once again on the back foot. Landor looking to close out map number 1 here as they get yet another opportunity to do so.
Same story on their attack as well. Chaotic to the high ground to start, and now just dive bombing into yellow. Jacob, perfect paranoia, and the wind does not last long enough for Chaotic. That cloudburst can only shroud him for so long. Pancakes still close, still active, still disgusting. 3 kills for the name changer. And Moose can't barrier up in time. It's down to Bones, but Bones is still up. Bones is still good. 3 kills, now a lockdown to give himself a free spike. Can he do it here? Barrier's already set up for him. Turret on top, every angle possible managed. Still a nano swarm if he wants it. Where, oh where does Bones decide to go? This barrier's on a time crunch. But so is BCJ. Like an 80s music video on 2 sides of the same coin. Right as the wall fades, and Bones is not watching! BCJ's rap saves the team yet again! And we go to overtime 3.
Oh, a little bit of fake information being given to Bones. Oh yeah, the turret's watching my back. Any way BCJ comes in, I will be aware of what that happens. I'm like Agent 007, just crouched down, walking beside the barrier orb all the way around, mitigates that alarm bot, the turret completely. And it allows BCJ to just walk in and find that excellent timing there. Great stuff coming in, great knowledge of how that whole thing is going to work. And that allows the potential clutch up from Bones to be sent to the wayside. We're back again. We do it yet again. Chaotic once again back on this operator, looking for a little bit more value. So far has not been that turn up player for Landor in these overtime rounds. That mostly has been Moose, but Chaotic has really just paved the path forwards here to even allow this overtime to happen for Landor.
He's continued to be that opening view. Now a question of which peaks have been overconditioned and how well trained are these teams when it comes to switching up your patrols.
Timing.
Great drop by Chaotic. Intel at its finest. And Moose, attempted creep. Not good for anything. Chaotic, very brazen approach. And with that draft, not fully helping him, he has to commit to a second kill that he gets before fully falling. Still, Shopify has not paved their way onto the site. T-Dog, tough chops in the corner. And that gives Shopify their own lockdown on the attack. They can take their sweet time as BCJ creeps up the tube and guarantees any other semblance of space outside of the lockdown. Bones has eyes! And so it's another war on two fronts. Sacred, once again, unafraid of giving himself away to deal with this first fight. They know how much they have to deal with in the long run. In fact, they'll deal with it first. Spaz gone first. Sacred now hopping downward. Sacred with the operator, the insta-kills!
No way.
Unbelievable! As Landor win another opener on overtime, giving themselves another game point to work with.
It's the Killjoys. Oh, man.
Switching sides.
A crazy round coming in from Landor. Their Shopify Rebellion. Everything in the cards should have pointed to them finally being able to win that round. It looked so good. They had BCJ set up onto the flank. You know, they had two people onto the site. They just had to kind of hold things down. But it's in those moments of overconfidence even that they just kind of got shut down here. Even with such a strong opening, making sure to shut down Chaotic before too much damage was done. And still Landor, they're able to make that one work. And so, for a third time now, Landor on match point here. Spaz shooting down the Owl drone. Put down some of that information. But Landor at the 5-man stack. They're going to be moving forwards with great momentum, great offense, really, onto this B site. Let's hope that Shopify are ready for it.
Far less aggression in the lane itself. They have a little more util they can dump on the push itself. And Spaz is turned on to immediately. Landor are ready for the early chokeholds. Barrier classically set up. Landor are doing everything right. And Chaotic is posted up on the inside of the site. The perfect sandwich that Shopify just have to stick a toothpick into and try to compress. Jacob has the potential off angle. Oh, nobody's looking at Chaotic. Nobody is looking at Chaotic. And beyond that, there's still way more than that in your way. Landor continued pounding on the door until there was no door at all. And they will upset Shopify on their own map, no doubt setting us up for another upset in map 2.